Hey guys, this is Verneer for CardRunners.com. So this episode is going to focus on facing 3-bet pots. So a couple things. Here is our opening range. This range represents right around 16% of hands, or 210 combos. Now, in general, you should be defending about 30 to 40% of the time versus a 3-bet. Now, I said it's obviously situation dependent in terms of against every single 3-bet, you're not going to defend, 30 to 40% of the time. It's just that's what the average should be. You want to defend wider versus 3-bets from the cutoff and the button, and tighter versus 3-bets from the blinds. We're going to give 3-bets from the blinds more respect, unless they're squeezing. So now, a couple things about calling a 3-bet. We'll start with calling a 3-bet. A couple places or a couple things to keep in mind when calling a 3-bet. One, if your hand is too strong to fold, but not strong enough to 4-bet call. For example, tends through queens in a lot of spots, ace queen versus some villains. They're hands that you don't want to 4-bet, but you're definitely ahead of somebody's 3-betting range. So you want to call with those kind of hands. You want to trap with strong hands. So sometimes some of the examples will include me calling with kings and aces. In fact, I would say by default versus a 3-bet, I call with aces just because unless I'm playing against a very well-defined range, they're just going to fold out too many bluffs if I end up 4-betting them. There is, you could be getting great odds to hit and play in position. So if you're playing with deeper stacks and you have a small pocket pair, or even like a good suited connector, and you end up being 3-bet from the blinds, chances are the person has a pretty good hand. So you'll often have odds to hit and play in position. So that's another situation. Multi-way pots. You want hands that play well in multi-way pots. For example, pocket pairs and suited connectors. And you don't want random offsuit broadways. Or even hands like, well, yeah. So you want to fold your hands like ace queen, king queen, ace jack if you ended up opening those. Suited aces, I would probably dump those as well. They don't play nearly as well as you would think, but depends what price you're getting. Implied odds versus a well-defined range. That's kind of similar to the third one. So let's take a look at some of the hands I have in which I ended up calling a 3-bet, and talk about why I ended up doing so for that specific hand. So king jack suited. I'm facing this very small 3-bet. So I'm just gonna call. I've got a hand that is relatively connected, suited. It's gonna be a multi-way pot, which means that the villain is less likely to bluff multi-way. And if I flop just a naked king and the villain's just going nuts, then I'm going to be able to let it go. All right, so flop a king with backdoor hearts. So it's a pretty standard check call on the flop. The turn gives me additional equity. I check, he bets. It's actually not a bad spot to shove. So this should probably be a shove on the turn here. But like what am I getting called if I shove here? I'm probably not gonna get called by. Like if he's bluffing, he's not gonna call a bluff. So in this case, I still have a bluff catcher. So I'm going to just call again. And on the river, I ended up shoving, and I don't like that when I hit my flush. I think since my reasoning was I kind of have a bluff catcher with better odds, I should check again on the river, and I should allow him to triple barrel. So I don't like the way I played that hand on the river. He ended up folding, but I think if he has ace king or aces or anything that would like call a shove on the river, he's going to shove those things himself. So I think I misplayed the hand on the river. I think on the flop is good, and I think on the turn is good.